Just a reminder, because I missed uploading yesterday, I have gone ahead and posted 2 videos from each franchise mode series. This is the second Rebuilding Hockeytown episode today, so if you missed the first one, go back and check that out first. Of course, if you're watching this in a playlist down the road, discard this because it's meaningless to you, and you didn't miss anything, so good on you. But welcome, guys, episode 27 of Rebuilding Hockeytown, where we finally aim to finish up the Season 5 regular season. We are 50 games in. It has taken a while, my God, because of all the moves we have made. But the roster looks pretty much set in stone at this point, and I think we're just going to have to go for it. Now, the big question coming out of last episode was what to do with Dylan Larkin. And obviously, because of the way I've uploaded, I didn't get your opinion. I am going to keep him on the top line. I switched him to a two-way. He started the season as a playmaker. We switched him to a sniper. I'm going to switch him to a two-way. If he still struggles, we are going to drop him down to the second line in favor of Jonathan Dahlen. I'm not looking to trade Dylan Larkin at this point, but if he continues to struggle, that could be a possibility in the future. Defensively, we're still looking good. Just waiting for progression for some of our players. And of course, in the last episode, we acquired Tristan Jarry, and we'll see if he and Ian Scott can continue to step up. But down in the AHL, 2 changes. I went ahead and signed Kelly Chow and Tommy Hagman. Of course, we drafted Chow and acquired Hagman from the Sharks. And we have them into the lineup. So it's only Michael Bourneval and Sven Andrighetto remaining in that lineup that aren't actually prospects. Daniel Carr and Landon Ferraro are now scratched. With all that said, we are good to go. Let's do this. 32 games left in this season. Will we be a playoff team? The end of last episode was rough, losing 4 straight games. We lost a bit of ground on the Bruins, but this episode, with a little bit of luck, we might still be able to catch them, and we do start off with a 4-2 win. I do want to pay attention and make note as well of the Grand Rapids Griffins, who are also playing at a pretty high level. Luke Green goes down to injury for about a week, so that's not ideal, but we'll survive. Now, I could just put Braden Coburn into the lineup, or do I want to call somebody up? I don't exactly think I want to call somebody up. Like, I could call up and send Rasmus Dahlin right back down, but that's just going to screw with the morale. So yeah, you know what? Let's just put Braden Coburn. Let's just put Braden Coburn into the lineup. That's why we signed him in particular, in case of injury. That way we still have somebody that could be half decent. I should note as well, I switched Giovanni Smith to a sniper. He does have 5-star shooting. I want to see if he can get his offense going a little bit more. Yes, he's on the 4th line. Not playing with the most offensively gifted players in the world, but we'll see what he can do. And we'll have Haig jump up and play with Liljegren on the second pairing, and we're good to continue. Did we at least win that game against Buffalo, please? Maybe? Yes, we did. Another 4-2 victory. All right. All right. Getting a little bit of momentum. 3 straight wins to start the episode. That is fantastic. That's exactly what we needed. And if I sound surprised, well, it's because I am. I had a bad feeling about this season, especially because of the amount of pressure we have in needing to make the playoffs this year. But with 4 straight wins, things are looking good. Luke Green's going to be fully healthy, so we'll put him back in the lineup against Chicago, and we'll play Ian Scott against the Blackhawks. But there you go. We are back in the second place. You look at how close that race is in the Atlantic. It is brutal. 8 points back of the Bruins, which we could still catch them. We could. We could very well catch them, but we'll have to wait and see. So Dylan Larkin up to 22 points on the year. All right. It's not awful. I don't know how he's performing that terribly when Taylor Hall has 16 goals and 24 assists, and Owen Tippett has 16 goals and 23 assists. I don't understand how Larkin struggled that much this season. But actually, you know what? I have to go best lines here because it might put Green back in for somebody in particular. Oh my God. What the hell? Wasn't he an 87 like 3 minutes ago? What the hell? Philip Hronek. All right. Well, normally you guys know I like to have 3 lefties and 3 right-handed shots. No, we'll have Hronek on the top pairing with Darnell Nurse. We'll have Haig and Liljegren, and Sari Arby and Luke Green. And we'll actually have Luke Green on the left-hand side. Wow. Philip Hronek. God damn. That is... I mean, in this series, we have seen some players just progress out of nowhere, even though he's not with this team anymore. We had Matt Spencer turn into a beast, acquiring him from Tampa. I still haven't forgotten about those first few trades that we made as Ian Scott gets a nice 7-1 victory against the Hawks. And it does suck because, obviously, with the way I handled the first trade deadline and everything, that's how I wanted this series to go. But, like I've said in comments, you can only keep the realism going for so long. And whenever even just mentioning that, I'll probably end up with comments, even sarcastically at this point, screw realism, blah, blah, blah. I want these series to be a bit more challenging in terms of team building and getting these pieces together. But I've said it a million times, franchise mode just isn't in a very good place. Like, it's a good time waster, and yes, you can have fun with it. But as far as a challenge, it's just not that. It's just not that. Where I forget who it was specifically, but I just traded depth players for like a first-round pick that might have been in a Nation United. But it's just not difficult. So, yeah, while we shortchanged ourselves with the Zetterberg trade, partially because of the random factor, but also partially because I wasn't paying attention, we ended up with Tom Wilson, who, in fairness, he's been a good fourth liner for us. We need legit fourth liners. He's been a good fourth liner for us. So say what you want there. And even if we acquired Vrana, I mean, look at our top 9. You think Vrana would have stuck around? No. So in the end, that trade ended up being pretty damn irrelevant. So I don't know. I go into this rant every once in a while. Franchise mode, it needs to be more challenging. Have different, not even in-game difficulty settings. Have difficulty settings. I mean, aside from just trade difficulty hard, because even then, it's not difficult in the slightest to take advantage of this game mode. And you'll always hear the same analogy with EA, or people that might be associated with EA, maybe even in the Game Changer program. The whole so many eggs and so few baskets for what they can pay attention to. But I mean, you put time into owner mode, and that was just like a shiny new coat of paint, rather than making some major changes to this mode that could at least make it more interesting, just in general. I mean, for me right now, making this mode interesting involves, doing something like a Nation United, where it's handicapping ourselves with Swedes only. I don't know. I don't know why I went off on this tangent again. But even still, we're in Season 5. We've made the playoffs once, I think. So we still have had our challenges with team building. Or not necessarily with team building. We have an amazing team. But we've had our challenges in terms of just making the playoffs. And that's because the sim engine is its own unique thing. But as we've reached the trade deadline, we have a 34-22-5 record. Grand Rapids also doing very well this season. And still, though, the Bruins are on fire. They are 7 points clear. And even with our record, you look at how close the Atlantic is. This is insane. This might be the closest playoff race I've ever seen. Florida's fallen out of it. Buffalo is definitely out of it. But Ottawa, Tampa, Toronto, and Montreal are right there. They are hot on our heels. It is ridiculous. Now, we do have 2 games in hand over the Bruins here, so that could come into play for us. But still, man, we are only 5 points clear of Tampa. So that's... I actually want to take a look at the Bruins really quick. Let me take a look at Boston really quick and see who they have. I don't know who the hell they have at this point. So let's take a look. Of course, we're 5 years in. They have David Pasternak. He's only an 88, but he has 63 points. Marchand's still there. Vetrano up to an 86. Danton Heinen up to an 87. Jake DeBrusk. Charlie McAvoy's a 91. That's Wow, Charlie McAvoy has 26 goals. Holy shit. Krejci's still there. Krug. They have Eric Simpson, an 85 overall 19-year-old. Holy shit, the number 2 overall pick from the 2020 draft. God damn, they found themselves a winner. Patrice Bergeron, Peter Cehlarik made the lineup. I can see why they're doing all right. Go figure that they have Jordan Nolan on their team, Nate Schmidt as well. And they do have Pionk. But he's actually down to a 79, so yeah, they're not playing him, and he's pretty pissed about it. But they have a pretty strong team. They have a pretty damn strong team. And we know Tuukka is still there. For how much longer, though, who knows? Malcolm Subban is right there. So I'm not surprised that the Bruins are doing well at this point. But the only thing I'm going to look to do here at the deadline, because I don't think we're going to make any moves, I do want to get rid of some of that AHL depth that simply isn't playing. You saw you might have seen, at least I noticed, that Daniel Carr complained about the lack of ice time. So, I mean, we have Ferraro, we have Carr, Richards, Filppula. We really only need 2 of them, so I'm going to hold on to Filppula and Richards, and we'll look to trade Carr and Ferraro. That is exactly what we'll do. Now, obviously, I don't care what we get for them. It's not as if draft picks are really an issue for us. So, I mean, let's see here. We're just looking to get rid of them. 4th round pick. And that, yeah, see, even a 4th round pick, which would kind of be a realistic trade. You look at the value, and it's like, you'd be shortchanging yourself. How about a 4th and a 5th for those 2? No? Okay. Well, how about a 4th and a 6th next year? How's that sound? That should go through. Still no. Wow, damn, would the 4th go through? Okay, so yeah, the 4th go through. Whatever, that's fine. Carr and Ferraro off to Washington. I'm going to quickly double check our point situation with individual players. So Taylor Hall, 51 points, leading scorer on our team. He is doing well. Yes, there's still concern over his contract, so how long he'll be a Red Wing, I don't know. But for now, I'm enjoying having him on our team. Dylan Larkin has gotten his game going a little bit. He's now a plus player with 27 points, so that's promising. Owen Tippett, not bad at all, 48 points and 87 overall. Nico Hischier, doing well, and is now listed as a first-line forward. That has changed, and that's a bit problematic. That's a bit problematic. I might have to bump him up to the top line. Jonathan Dahlen's still a second-line guy. He's having a good season. And Taylor Radish isn't doing too poorly. You could argue bumping him down for Baptiste, who is still, all these guys are still third-line guys. So Svechnikov isn't doing terrible. So Svechnikov or Baptiste could be bumped up. But what do we want to do about Hischier? I think the obvious thing would be to drop down Owen Tippett to the second line. But, I mean, Hischier is on the top power play units, so I don't necessarily need to bump him. He's lost morale. Shit, I don't know, because we have 3 legit first-line players, Hall, Larkin, and Hischier. So, what do we want to do here? I could switch Hall over to the right. Damn. What do I want to do here? You know, I'm just going to leave it the same. We'll have to monitor Hischier, though. Or Nico Hischier. However the hell you want to pronounce it. We'll have to monitor him just to make sure he doesn't start complaining about ice time. That is the main concern for me. Liljegren and Haig, both now top 4 defensemen. That's good. So the top 6 is still looking all right. I think we're good. I mean, we don't need to make any changes. This team should be good enough to get it done. So let's see if they can. But like I said, now we will have to monitor Hischier just to make sure he's not complaining about ice time. He does have the top line power play time, which will hopefully make up for it. But I really don't want to bump Tippett down to the second line because he deserves that top line power play time. So you could argue if we drop anybody down from that top line, it would be Dylan Larkin. I mean, as ideal as it would be to have the 3 first-line forwards actually on the first line, I mean, Owen Tippett doesn't deserve to get dropped. But, I mean, Dylan Larkin's improved. He is improving. He is getting points. Hischier's still doing some work on that second line. He hasn't lost morale because of ice time. So I think we'll be okay. Tristan Jarry up to a 923. Ian Scott a 919. And he will get this next game. We are just 5 points back of the Bruins. We seemingly made the most of those games at hand with 3 straight wins to start the month. Can we make it 4 with Ian Scott against Ottawa? Oh boy, that's rough. 6-2 loss to the Sens. Not good. The Bruins did pick up some points. And Ottawa's not out of the playoff race either. That is not ideal in the slightest to drop points right now to division rivals. So that is pretty disappointing from Ian Scott. And Luukkonen is still in, and that's probably the right call. I noticed Streit complained about something morale-wise, so for a moment I thought he was actually still in the lineup. He is not. But let's see here. Can we bounce back? It'll be 4 straight games for Tristan Jarry before Ian Scott plays again, and hopefully Jarry can continue to rack up the wins for us. Scouting-wise, it almost doesn't even matter at this point. A 2-1 loss to Carolina. Not good. Not good. Game against Chicago. Okay, come on now. Come on. What's going on here? What is happening? Another 4-game losing streak out of nowhere. What the fuck? And that's not the first time this season, and all of a sudden now we're right back into the second wildcard spot. We were so close to catching the Bruins, and then we just piss away 4 games, a 4-game losing streak. What the hell? Come on, guys. Can we not make the playoffs? Is that not going to happen here? All right. Well, fuck me. Let's put Hischier up on that top line. You could argue Jonathan Dahlen instead, since Larkin's a better center. We're going to have Dahlen, Larkin, Radish, Hall, Hischier, Tippett. And we'll see how that works out for us. The third line scoring is still doing all right. Fourth line contributing here and there. That is incredibly disappointing. We're going to put Ian Scott in for this next game because he would get one of the next 2 games anyway. Wow. Wow, man. So, I mean, we're still on pace to make the playoffs. But for the second straight time, once we get to within about 5 points of the Bruins, as Liljegren goes down to injury, once we get close to catching the Bruins, we just piss it away. We piss that opportunity away and find ourselves in a bit of trouble, which is very, very concerning. So let's see here. Sarjärvi or Green. It actually doesn't really matter who's done better this year. We'd probably want Sarjärvi in a better spot. And that would have had Jarry back in the lineup automatically, so Braden Coburn gets some time. We did get a 5-2 win with Scott. If Jarry loses here, I'm going to go put Scott back in, and that is exactly what happened. Oh my god. Right back into third. It's a close race. There's no chance we're catching the Bruins now. That division title's gone. 2 straight opportunities wasted in terms of nearly catching the Bruins. The hope now is that we can catch Montreal and outduel them for home ice advantage in the first round. I mean, again, I want to at least make the playoffs, but realistically here, we should be in a good spot. Ian Scott loses to Florida. What the fuck is going on? I don't understand these struggles. Things were looking good at the start of the episode here. Let me take a look. Maybe it's our power play? Maybe it's our power play. Maybe it's our penalty killing. Like, what is the issue here? So goals for per game. We're up there. 2.84. So that's not awful. Goals against per game. I mean, we're right in the same spot. Our defense isn't amazing. Power play percentage. We have the 3rd worst power play. Well, that's not very helpful, is it? Penalty kill. Penalty kill's up there. All right, so allow me to go take a look at our power play unit really quick. Best lines is failing me there. And we'll have to figure this out. We have 12 games to go. Tampa's not far off. We could still miss the playoffs. We cannot afford to continue losing games here. It cannot happen. We need to start winning again. So we have Larkin on the second line. That's fine. We're going to keep that the same. It's the power play unit that needs some work. So we're going to have Hall over here on the right. Let's have... So we need a righty on the top line. So let's bump up Tippett. Baptiste we'll take out of there for Taylor Radish. We'll have Radish on the right-hand side. Hischier on the left? No. Let's drop Dolan down. We'll have him there. So Tippett, Hischier, Hall. Yeah, okay. That's looking all right. That's looking good. It's looking good. We want the left-handed defenseman over there. All right, I think that's looking better. I think that's looking a little bit better. It's a little bit more organized as well. And I'm going to switch that around really quick. Okay, let's hope that those changes can lead to some success here. Again, 12 games to go. We're on 79 points. Both wildcard spots belong to this division. 3 games here for Tristan Jarry before we see Ian Scott again, barring injury. Of course, let's see. First game against the Islanders, Liljegren is coming back. It's an overtime loss. I mean, at least we got the pity point, but still, what the hell? What the hell? Is Liljegren going to be healthy for this game against San Jose? No, he's not. He's not fully healthy. All right, so we play the Sharks at home. It's an overtime win. All right, is Liljegren going to be fully healthy? Still no. Really, still not. All right, big game here against Montreal. Gigantic, and it's a 4-1 win. Thank God. That was huge, and, I mean, geez, now we have to play Tampa as well. We have to play Tampa, who are still right there in the mix. This is arguably the best playoff race I've ever seen. We have 9 games left, and still anything could happen here. The Bruins look to have slowed down a little bit. I don't think either us or Montreal could catch them, but you never know, as Braden Coburn jumps up to an 81, but obviously he's going to be out of the lineup. Let's get that sorted again. It's funny how it keeps putting Baptiste there on the second line, and you know, if we get into a bit of trouble in the playoffs, that might be something that we eventually check out. But let's go and set the power play units up again. And you know what? We will actually keep Baptiste in there for the moment. That's fine. That's fine. Whatever. We'll keep Baptiste there, and we'll see what we can do. So Ian Scott is between the pipes for the biggest game of the season he's had yet. We need a win. We got the win over Montreal. We're 3 points back of them, but barely above Toronto and Ottawa. And Tampa could get back into the playoff structure if they win here. Ian Scott loses 3-2. Oh my God. Tampa is now right there. Oh man, this is going to come right down to the wire. This is going to come right down to the wire. Ian Scott, you've disappointed me a bit. You're still our goalie for the future, but you haven't been able to come up with those big wins. You started off all right once we brought in Tristan Jarry, but lately it hasn't been great. Oh my God, and you get a look at the schedule. Ian Scott gets 2 games. He'll play Winnipeg and Florida. We play Boston twice, Tampa, Montreal, and Ottawa down the stretch. Holy shit. All right, we're going to take this one game at a time, pretty much. Because pretty much all of these games might as well be playoff games. We start off with a 4-2 win against Nashville. I didn't mean to click that far over. I wanted to stop on April 1st. Evan Bouchard goes down to a concussion down in Grand Rapids. Oh my God, Cole Lynn's up to an 85. Wow, he jumped from a depth forward to a third line checking forward just like that. Wow. Same with Alex Formenton. Both of them were depth forwards that have jumped up to third line checking forwards. That could be problematic for us. Who do we want to put in here? Delmas or Perron? What the fuck? Why did that happen? Delmas? What the fuck? What is... Oh my God, EA. Like, it's little things like that. Medium top 6. Can I please go up to Delmas? Medium top 6. Son of a bitch. He was a righty, correct? So we'll just put in the righty. That's fine. I'm going to have to double check here with the AHL lineup. Perron was the righty. Yes, he was. Good. We'll put Yamelin up top there. So Stevens is still a depth forward, apparently. Dahlin's top 6 now as well. Oh, man. So we have had progression from the AHL side, which is good. I mean, hell, even Tommy Hagman's up to a 76. So we've had progression, but it's come at a bit of a bad time as we, are still in the midst of a playoff run here. And I can't afford to send any of these guys down or scratch them, so we have no choice but to keep the guys who are down in the AHL there for now. But as you can tell, we're still going to have a situation to deal with next offseason in terms of who stays and who goes. But you look at the playoff push here. I said Boston started to slump, and indeed they have. Montreal have caught up to them. So we need to make up 5 points in 7 games. And we're still only 2 points above water, Ottawa with 84 points. We could win the division. We could miss the playoffs. Anything is still possible at this point. We play Tampa. It's a must win. And we lose 4-2. Well, I think that right there pretty much, decided it. We're not winning the division title. If we needed any further confirmation, that was it. Right there, Boston and Montreal both on 93 points. Tampa jumps us by 1 point. And now we have to play Boston. And what am I doing? Jari has to stay in for this game. Holy shit, if we miss the playoffs here. If we miss the playoffs here, that would be disastrous. Tristan Jari against the Bruins. We need a win. Please. 5-2 victory for Jari. Thank God. Oh, this is stressful. Montreal have clinched a playoff spot. I feel bad about that in a way. We're on 88 points. Tampa picked up a win. We are now 4 points clear of Ottawa, although there might be a game-in-hand situation. We have to play them again still this season. Ian Scott, his second to last game, again, barring injury to Tristan Jari. We need a victory against Winnipeg. They don't look like they're a playoff team. If they are, they're barely a playoff team. We need a win. Please. Bouchard's healthy. 7-4. Oh my God. 7-4, but a win is a win. I will take it. And we are on 90 points. 5 points ahead of Toronto. We still haven't clinched. We're 5 points back of the Habs. We're going to be playing them coming up, so getting a win would be nice. But I just want to make the playoffs at this point. I'm going to sim to our next game against Montreal just so that we know the point totals. Boston have clinched on 94 points. We're 3 points ahead of Ottawa and Toronto. We need to win here. We need to win. Holy shit. Against Montreal. Can we get the win? Please. 4-1 loss. Fuck. Alright. That's not good. And we're back into a wild card spot. Alright. Ian Scott. We've never needed a win from you more than we need it right now. You have to win this game. You have to stand on your head. We cannot drop points to Florida. They're not in the playoff structure, but even more reason as to why we need to win, because the last 2 games of the season for Jari are against playoff teams. Ian Scott against the Florida Panthers. Fuck me running. Oh my God. And the Red Wings, holy shit, are just fucking this up. This episode started with so much promise. It really looked like we had a chance to win the Div title. Now there's essentially no chance of home ice advantage in the playoffs. Oh my God, and we still might miss. Jari plays Boston and Ottawa. We're 3 points ahead of the Sens and the Leafs. But oh my God. I mean, if we stay in this spot right now, we're getting put into the Metro bracket, which might honestly not be the worst thing. We would stay in the Metro bracket. We are 3 points clear of both Toronto and Ottawa. And Tampa 1 point clear of us. So we would get put into the Metro bracket, which is Carolina, New York, and New York. So we'd be playing Carolina, who is Actually, no, at the moment, we would still be playing Montreal. I figured because both wildcard spots were here that we'd be put in the Metro bracket. Toronto would be put in the Metro bracket. We'd be playing Montreal in the first round if this stands the way it is right now. I don't think we can catch Boston. No, we can't. Well, no, we can't. We can only finish with 94 points. So, we still need a win here, though. In Boston, Tristan Jarry, please. 4-1 victory. Okay. And it's official at least. We are in the playoffs. We are in the playoffs. It is official. We are a playoff team this season. We are back, finally. It took long enough. And before we play our last game of the season against Ottawa, who are current... So right now, if we win this game, the Sens are out of the playoffs. For sure. As long as we win it in regulation. We could still finish... from the looks of it, if I had to guess, it's win, we play Boston. Lose, we play Montreal. That's what it is right now. That's what it is. I'm not switching goaltenders, so I don't know why I clicked that. It's almost instinctual at this point. So we're in. It's going to be Montreal or Boston unless something changed over in the Metro. So let's see it. No, nothing changed in the Metro. Montreal finished on 99 points. Boston finished on 98. So it is confirmed Carolina will play the second wildcard team, which is shaping up to be Toronto. Although that would be a hell of a tiebreaker. I think Toronto has the tiebreaker over Tampa. So it's tough to say. It's tough to say. I'd prefer to win and have a little bit of momentum, which would mean playing Boston in the first round. But let's see here. Against Ottawa, the last game of the season. I don't give a fuck about scouting. That's very odd timing for Noah Rod to end up on waivers, and I honestly might claim him. That's exactly what I'm going to do. He's not a bad player. We'll claim him. We lost 4-3. We lost. I forgot to put Evan Bouchard back in the lineup as well. Did in Grand Rapids, I think. We lost 4-3. Fuck. I don't know what our seeding is right now. Let's just move forward. It's Montreal in the first round. Which means we finished in a wild card spot. And that's a bit bittersweet. We had every chance to consistently win this year. And we fucking blew it down the stretch. We absolutely blew it down the stretch. Tampa jumped us by 1 point because we lost to a non-playoff team in Ottawa. Although they were close. They were only 1 point out. Well, actually, they were really 2 points out. They would have needed 2 points to jump Toronto. So we're a wild card team. Toronto plays Carolina. We play Montreal. It's not that I'm afraid of Montreal either. I feel like we can beat them because I feel like we very well could have won the division this season. We absolutely could have. We just underperformed. And hopefully we can avoid that situation in the playoffs. Now, what do I want to do here? I guess we'll look at point totals first. And potential line combinations. Taylor Hall, worth every penny this season. 79 points in 82 games. Owen Tippett, his line mate, had 65 points. And then Nico Hischier finished with 61. Of course, he was in the top 6 all year. Philip Hronik turned into a monster. 60 points. 54 assists this season. Jonathan Dahlen with 53 points. And then we really dropped off. Now, in fairness, Dylan Larkin did perform pretty well in this episode. Finished with 39 points. But that is very concerning when you factor in that his previous lowest total with us was 47. And we didn't exactly have a great team at that time. So, while Dylan Larkin... I mean, it's tough to say. It is tough to say. He has 2 years left, so he has next year after this. But what is his future with our team? I don't know. He finished tied in points with Sariarvi, Baptiste, Radish, and Turgeon, all over the 30-point total on the third line. Or actually, Svechnikov on the third line. Radish was on the second line with 35 points. Not too bad, though, for a rookie campaign. Liljegren with 32 points, 22 for Nurse, 22 for Tom Wilson, 21 for Athanasiou, 18 points for Giovanni Smith, 13 for Green, 7 for Haig, and then Noah Rod played 12 games with the Washington Capitals. Take a look at the goaltending. I mean, no question, it is Tristan Jarry starting. 51 games, had a .918 save percentage. Ian Scott, 29 games, had a .910 save percentage. Not all that confident in the goaltending. Jarry, again, it's like the start of the episode. He really started to pick it up, and then at the end, he just fell off a cliff. Down in Grand Rapids, we might as well look because they're going to be a playoff team as well. Luukkonen, .921 save percentage, has been very solid for Grand Rapids this year. Riley Tufte has 78 points in 73 games. Fermentum with 68. Yamamoto 66. We've had a very strong team yet again. And like I mentioned, guys like Lind, potentially even Svechnikov, where we are going to have more changes to the team. Kelly Chow, by the way, 17 points in 30 games since he was signed. Not too bad. We are going to have to make even more changes and even more decisions about who gets cycled out for the start of next year, because a lot of these guys are going to be competing for a job with the main team. No doubt about that. But let's take a look here throughout the entire league. Steven Stamkos with 101 points, the only player to break that total. Actually, I can't say no real surprising names. Nicholas Aubé-Kubel, 87 overall finish with 77 points on the Philadelphia Flyers, tied with Ovechkin and Jonathan Toews. Timo Meier also up there with 74 points. The rookie race was very interesting, and there's a strong chance we're taking home the Calder this year. Owen Tippett led the league in rookies for points. Hronek with 60 was in second place, and then dropped off from there with Chalapik, Forsbacka Karlsson in New York, and Jansen Harkins in New Jersey. So we absolutely have a chance at the Calder, and whether or not it'll be Tippett or Hronek for the fact that he had 60 points as a defenseman remains to be seen. And there were goalies also in contention. Let's look here. So Mackenzie Blackwood, I'd say, has a chance. He did have a losing record, though. Brossois shouldn't even be factored in. Ilya Samsonov, who ended up in Buffalo, not bad. Ian Scott also up there. I think it's Tippett or Hronek, which will be nice to get a Calder trophy within this organization for, I believe, the first time. I think I'm wrong there. I genuinely can't remember, and I can't check either now that we're in the playoffs. But I did want to check here. Riley Tufte, third in AHL scoring, but the season is not over. So it'll be interesting to see if he can lead the league in scoring, but he might just be a bit too far off the pace. Guys, we made the playoffs. Mission accomplished there, even if we aren't as high of a seed as we could have been. The question moving forward is, can this team get it done? I think our top line is pretty much locked in. I mean, we could switch Larkin and Hischier again if we wanted to. You could argue maybe drop Taylor Radish down in favor of Baptiste, but I think everything else is pretty much set in stone. And then down in the AHL, before he has a goddamn panic attack, I need to get Evan Bouchard back into the lineup. But both teams in a good spot, with Detroit not as good as it could have been, but anything can happen once you are in the postseason. The next episode, we begin our postseason journey, taking on Montreal in the first round as you get a look at the other series. Dallas and Minnesota, Nashville, St. Louis, Edmonton, Anaheim, San Jose, and Colorado in the West. In the East, the Battle of New York, Carolina, Toronto, the Bruins, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, of course, we play Montreal. Guys, that'll do it for this episode. I hope you did enjoy. Like I said, a double upload day, so a lot for you to catch up on. But let me know if you think we should make any last-second changes before getting into the series with the Habs. We'll, of course, take a look at their roster before that matchup. So yeah, until next time, guys, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to hit that like button to help support me and the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others. And I'll see you guys in the playoffs.